Hello everyone and welcome back to the stream. I am Junchan and today we're back at our work on Purescript and chronofolds. And let me bring up the log and let's see. Actually, let me create a new log for today. We are the 8th of January. And yeah, in the past few streams we've implemented the chronofold algorithm and the specific the causal tree merge algorithm, and so we have the very first version of the library. We've also calculated like some baseline performance measurements, like really rough, but just to get a sense of what we need to improve on when we get back to working on the library. But before getting there, really wanted to basically work on a prototype, even with our slow and early version library, so that we could sort of get a sense for what the API is going to be like and the kind of stuff that I'd like to do with this data structure. So let me also copy the log that's specifically for a chronofold for today. And so here's a little bit more detail about what we're doing specifically on the prototype. So we actually implemented a VS Code extension, just using the very basic, starter project from Visual Studio Code there, following these instructions, fairly simple. Then I used the Purescript FFI to actually call the Purescript code from JavaScript. So that also, last time we discovered that, there were a few ways that we could improve that, but also discovered that there was a bit of an issue that when there's a quite cool environment to run VS Code extension, which allow us to sort of test our code pretty fast inside a sort of test VS Code environment. But it seems that it was more or less swallowing some of the stuff that could happen inside Purescript, in particular errors or console logs from inside the library wouldn't show up because I think the way that the VS Code extension development environment is set up, it must be like marking the console log thing in the VS Code extension code, but then so that it shows up in the debug console, but not doing so for all the library code. So it means that it was swallowing our errors. So, it's a prototype, so I don't necessarily want to solve that problem quite yet. But we were actually able to also hook up to this onDid change text document method. Actually, I should upvote this because this is what we used. Which allows to handle any change in the document, and this was in the links from the previous stream. If you want to access those links, then they're posted in the YouTube video. You can go to the YouTube channel, which is listed in my Twitch homepage. And then oh no, I don't want to close this. Then we also found a way to register for basically any event. And so let me show you the code for that. That actually goes in the package.json, which is used as a manifest for that's the wrong package.json though. This one, that's used for a manifest for the VS Code extension. And there's this activation event to which you pass kind of a scope that's going to say this extension is going to listen to this type of events, and doing that allowed us to have the extension activate from the get-go, from the start of VS Code, and so then we can hook up into this. And you see here we're using this onDid change text document subscription or event, and as I mentioned in the log here, we were actually able to make it so that each keystroke inside the VS Code will become a chronofold op. And so that's really where things start getting interesting, because in this because when we create an op, that's when we're basically building our chronofold data structure. And what I'd like to do is to transmit this op over the wire to a browser. That's my prototype. And of course, this is not at all how you would use such a library in a text editor, which is really what it's meant to be used for. You would normally, create your own text area and then hook it up directly to the chronofold so that each keystroke at lower level would be, logged as an op, and that your display buffer would be the, what I call the projection of your chronofold. But we're doing this a little bit more, kind of DIY, let's say, by just, pretending that we've built VS Code and just kind of hooking up to it on the side and building a chronofold on it. It wouldn't be at all how we would use it if we were building an editor. And we might, at some point maybe launch ourselves into building an editor, or at least maybe trying to find a way to be the data structure, the underlying data structure for an existing editor. That would be probably the better choice. I'm actually going to write this as a potential goal here for later. Use chronofold, use Purescript chronofold as underlying layer for existing editor. I think that's the sane approach, right? Personally, I don't want to, I kind of want to write my own editor, but that's unreasonable. It probably makes better sense to start from one. And just to be for full disclosure here, I actually got quite interested in Rasa from my friend Chris Penner, which is basically a completely modular, completely almost wrote from the ground up text editor built in Haskell. So we might head there, we might at some point write chronofold in Haskell, basically. Write a chronofold library in Haskell, and then hook Rasa onto it. That could be fun. That could be quite fun. But then maybe we'd want to use like GHC.js for compiling it. This could happen, next year or something. To be honest, we're juggling with quite a number of projects already. Also, I think I would put more effort into trying to make this run in a browser, which make this sort of the more attractive prospect to get something up and running. Also because, that would be quite a good thing to have as a Twitch extension. But also there's something that, like a line of work that kind of forks from this, which is to explore other CRDTs. Because that's a little bit also what my learning goal is with Chronofold, is that once we go back to improving the performance in some ways and working the APIs, then I want to use my learning to maybe think about how to maybe reuse some of the good practices from Chronofold to have real-time sync of other things that text. And so we'll see what that's like. And right, so what was I saying now? So I was kind of justifying that we're using the VS Code really the wrong way in terms of what Chronofold is meant to be, and but however it's a good way to still test it. So we're already able to append to the local log, and so now next on our plate is to deal with backspace, because let me run it for you, or let's say at least run the test version. So you see, you run the start debugging, and then it's going to launch a VS Code called extension development host. So some kind of a virtual Visual Studio Code that's able to pick up on this, and then it activates the extension, and then it displays the code. VS Code Chronofold is now active. So now we've entered into this activate method, and we've just displayed this console log. And so what we do here is that we initialize, our local chronophore, which we call alpha here. So in a real case scenario, we'd want to somehow assign each host a different replica number, or each replica a different replica number. That's an interesting problem in terms of, I haven't even really thought about that, about how you do this in a distributed environment context. I think there must be an algorithm for that is kind of CRDT-ish. Yeah, it is, of course. It's a CRDT counter, of which there is an algorithm for, or if not one, many, in fact. CRDT counter. Right, there's the G counter, grow only counter, of which we have a pseudocode algorithm version there for a CV RDT. And there's also positive negative counter. We don't really need that. So that would be a fun thing to implement, or even, well, yeah, actually it probably doesn't exist in Purescript. And at some point we might want to, there's a JavaScript CRDT libraries. I forget how it's called. It's not this one. I think it's the, how is it called? The IPFS related one, isn't it? Or well, at least they would log to it, but isn't it connected to IPFS? It's probably listed somewhere. It's not this one. They had a, what is it, maybe in the notes? Pad. PRCRDT, no. JSAPFS. Yeah, well, I'm not going to implement it now. We'll get to it when we get to it. Maybe I'll make a note in my log, because that could be something we do after the prototype. Counter CRDT for, which is a nice little self-contained library to do in Purescript, possibly. And what I was going to say, if I had found this other library, is that we could do something similar, which is to have a little zoo of CRDTs and package them up in the same Purescript library. Well, but yeah, a counter CRDT for the replica number or replica ID. I guess it's the equivalent of an auto increment column in a SQL database, but one that's distributed. So should work over an arbitrary number of replicas that don't need to coordinate with a central server, which is the whole point of all of this. Okay, so we create this log we initialize it with this root element, which is part of the paper and part of the causal tree algorithm. And then, so that we've done, and then it takes us to VS Code chronophore is now active with some state in that closure there in the activate method. And then when we type, we print out, when we type, we take the event, get the character out of this event, because we're interested in content change events. And we probably need to guard against there being no content change events. So I'm thinking about an elegant way to do that, but I'm afraid I'm going to do it inelegantly. Because we want to ignore the other type of events. We only care about those that have a content change. Although I think actually this might be onDetect change event might give us only events with a content change. I think that's in fact the case. So this is overkill. I don't need to do that. Let's go back in time. Okay. And then we, for each character that has been inputted during this change thing, so like the use case there is that maybe we copy a whole blob all of a sudden. So in that case, we need to append each element of the string. So we need to we put it in a for loop there, mapping around looping around each character in the string that was in the content change. And then, so now, for instance, if we have activate, then we first have A as the str here. So really, I should call this char, because if we're mapping on the array of text, then we're getting the text. Hey, Yuan, what's up? How's it going? We are back with our chronophore prototype. All right, that sounds good. Good morning to you. Enjoy your training. And right, so yeah, we're passing a character, and we call our build snock string ops, which basically adds to the end of the existing log, or consider what the existing log state is, and then creates some operations that we can then append to our log. So you see here, this is us importing the Purescript library through a sort of adapter that I put here into the index.js, where we're exporting the data chronophore core, buffer, and types module, and then importing them and then re-exporting them here. This code was used to troubleshoot some of the problems that we're having with our errors being swallowed. Okay, so build snock string ops is going to create an array of operations, and an operation, just to refresh, to be honest, my memory as much as yours, is an operation is what? Let's go to check out our type. They're in types. An op is here. An op is a timestamp. A reference, which is what makes the essence of the causal tree algorithm. It's what is the character that we insert our value in, and val is the payload for the op, so it's the character. So with all of these things, we're able to get a CRDT when we append it to our log, which has these different data structures in it. So we have these ops that are built from this character. So let's say now we're looping over character A. So we pass A. It gives us an op or an array of op for that character A. Actually, I think I might be. Okay, let's console log the rtxt here, because I think, in fact, what I said was incorrect, and what my code was before was better. Meaning, I think content changes is actually an array of strings. So when I pass activate, actually activate is an array with a single element, which is activate. And so when I do for each, I think that actually what I get passed here, so let's also console log this, is going to be the whole of activate, not character by character. But don't trust me on this, because I don't trust myself on this. Let's reload and see what our fancy debugging tells us. So we need to wait a bit to see the debug messages here. And what I found out while testing is that it seems like the activate method, that gets printed out fairly fast, but then there was this activate extension at the bottom, and then it takes a while until like the event starts showing up, probably for the workspace to be actually loaded up, because this VS code.workspace, that's actually VS Code building up all of its windows and all of that. So that takes a while before this event is available. So let's do what I did earlier, which is paste, well, something. And indeed, yeah, so our text, well, that's, okay, that's not the best example, I gotta admit. I just copy pasted our text where our variable name is our text, so this is a little bit confusing. But okay, so let me paste activate instead. Okay, all right, so I pasted activate, and so now this is, right, our text. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna reload this. I have confused myself. This is not good. All right. But I think I was right in the fact that my current transformation there is not. I just shouldn't change this name to char. I think it should be str. Okay, I think reloaded. Let's paste. All right. So first our text here. What is, okay? So this is this. Okay. This is the fact that console log is announcing what it's going to print out. Very good. And so what it prints out is this array. And in there, what do we have? We have the whole activate string. So indeed, we have an array with one element, and it contains the whole string activate. So when we do for each on that array, the elements are not going to be an individual character. They're going to be the whole string. So I should call this str instead. That should be less misleading. And it's all good because we have this function build snock string ops, which is exactly made to receive a string as an argument, and then we'll build a string of ops from that. And so let's just to remind ourselves what we're seeing here, we're going to debug what this ops array looks like. So let's reload again. And that should be basically an array of operations, which, as we saw earlier, were timestamps, this reference, and then the what is, I'd like to say the ASCII character, but it's not. It's a Unicode code point, which is the modern version of that. Right. So activate created 8 operations, and the first of which has 3 values in it. The first is the timestamp. So first op has timestamp 1, 2. 1 is the replica. 2 is the number of the operations, because we already had a root operation in there. And then the second timestamp is 1, 3, because 1 is our replica and 3 is the index, and so on. And 97 is A and 99 is C, and so that's our ops. And then we pass these ops to another one of our library's function, which is append ops. And append ops, after these operations are passed, is going to merge them into our chronofold or our log, our local log. And the reason why we do this in 2 steps is that, in fact, what we're going to want to do is to send these ops over the wire. So our next step, or after we've dealt with the backspace, which is really what is on our to-do list next, is going to be to wire this up over the network. And so this is where we'll do it, because we want to both update our local data structure, but we also want to send these ops over the wire so that all of our peers, or in our distributed swarm, are able to receive these operations and then update their local data structure to receive, hopefully, the text that we've written here. And they will be able to do the same thing on their end. They'll be able to write their own operations and should be able to receive them and append them on the local log. So that's how this whole thing is supposed to work. And so what we see here is that after we've appended it, we update this log alpha variable, which is a mutable variable. We're in JavaScript land, so I'm going to change the APIs for this at some point to make it so that the Purescript library actually maintains state itself. But I'm going to have to think a bit about that as well, because I want to think about where, making things memory efficient. And so that's for later. But what we do here is that we call the project function, which takes our log and then basically is able to interpret it into a string. And so when we do that, we see that what comes out is activate. And so that's what we expect. We did this convoluted thing where we, hooked into the VS Code events. We get some text, we build operations, append to the log, but then we want to make sure that whatever we appended to the log results in the text that we put in the first place, and so we see that that's the case here. Well, that's the case here. I say this, but it's not exactly true because it's true. Even if I paste this extension context, right? Oh yeah, fantastic, it works. Now we have 16 new operation coming through and all of that, and that works. But something doesn't work, and that's backspace. So if I backspace, nothing seems to happen. And if then I write something, then we see we were out of sync. So we need to implement backspace, and that's what I have in the log right there. Deal with backspace, and it's even with an exclamation mark. So let's get to it. Let's see. First of all, I want to see whether we receive any event, and if so, what it looks like. So let's introspect the event and reload our code. And paste activate again, because why not? We continue with our example. Okay, it's active. See, it's activating the extensions. All right, and then we paste activate, and it's displayed. Okay, so now I'll clear the log, and I'll do backspace. Okay, and so we have an event, so that's a good thing. And we have a content change, and what does it say? It comes with a range object, or a range array, which seems to, yeah. So that's we're going to need to interpret this into a backspace, and it's not trivial just looking at it like this. Maybe let's take a look at the docs, right? Let's see how they talk about this particular event. So an event describing a transactional document change. So hold on, which one do we have? I think it's the content change event. Yeah, is it? Content change event. Oh, we have a document. Oh, right. There's two things inside this event. There's a document and a content change, and so I think the document is the text document change event, and the content change is the text document content change event. And indeed, we see that the document, that the content change event has this range that we see here in the docs, which say the range that got replaced, okay, and then the range length, the length of the range that got replaced, okay, range offset, the offset of the range that got replaced, and text, the new text for the range. Okay, so that's the key here, I think, is that, well, first of all, okay, now I'm thinking a little bit ahead about the other type of things that could happen to our document, right? Not only backspace from the end of the cursor, right? We could be hitting backspace when they're in the middle of the string. And then if we do that, then we're going to receive something that's going to look quite different. So let's try and bet on what it's going to look like. If I click backspace on here, then I'd expect that text is still going to be empty string. Range length is still going to be 1, but range offset is going to be what? 2 or 3? And then, hold on, I need to check out, range, right, that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, so I bet it's going to be 2. No, actually, it's probably going to be 1 here. It's probably going to be 1, and then here is going to be 0, and here 1. Okay, I hope you've placed your bets. I will backspace. And object, and content change, and probably made enough by 1 error, no? And well, I was half right. Range offset is 1, which is basically where we end up, it looks like, but range is 1, 2. So it seems like basically it's sort of saying you know, in the string as it was before we did anything, we select what is between 1 and 2, and then we put nothing in there. So basically we delete it. And then maybe this means where we are now, possibly. Range offset, the offset of the range that get replaced. The range that got replaced. Huh. So I don't see a case where the beginning of the range, oh no, I do see a case where that's the case. Right, because now we're dealing with deletions, and so the pattern is probably going to be that the range offset is always going to be the lower bound of the range. But I think when we add something, then the range offset, in fact, is probably going to be the upper bound of the range. So let's test this assumption by copy pasting ops in the middle of exactly where we are now. So what I predict then is that range length is going to be 3 because ops has 3 letters. Range offset, I think, is going to be 4 because we're going to be after that at the 4th position. And then range, oh, hold on. You know, because earlier I was saying that range is sort of like how things were before, but now now it feels like maybe it feels like this should be 3 long, but maybe it's not. Maybe in fact the range offset is going to be enough to say. So maybe this is going to be, okay, I'll place my bet and I say this is going to be 1, 1, and range offset is going to be 4 with range length 3 and text ops. Okay, let's try. Range is ops. Range length is 0. I didn't expect this at all. Oh, but range is 1, 1. So I got half right, but the other half. Okay, but where is range offset 1? That's, huh. So, you know, all of this is probably optimized for the data structure that VS Code uses for its own underlying text data structure, right? Like a piece table. But I'm a bit confused. The offset of the range that got replaced. So I suppose we didn't replace a range because we added something. So that's kind of what this is saying is, you know, our range is a cursor, so it's flat. It doesn't have any dimension to it. So therefore it's of length 0. It has a position as a cursor, so it was positioned at, you know, index 1, but it's you know, its range, upper bound, lower bound is just 1, 1, so it's like a range of length 0, and then we just add ops into it. So that means I'm gonna do a final little test to see whether I understand this correctly, and then we'll go ahead and implement. I'm going to now select ops and then paste log onto it. And what I bet's going to happen is that this time we have a range that we're replacing. So therefore, I think range offset is probably still going to be 1 because that's where our range is. And then range is going to be 1, 4. And range length is going to be 3, and text is going to be log. Okay, let's drum roll, and text is log. Range length is 3. Range offset is 1, and 1, 4. I get it right sometime around, so I consider myself graduated for the text document content change event data structure. So now let's implement backspace. So what is backspace in this world? So let's not consider, let's do like a sort of a simpler case where we at the end, so we're not yet managing cursors, and then we just hit backspace. So then in that case, what are we going to see in the content change? Text is going to be nothing. Range offset is going to be the length of, it's going to be the length of the string minus the backspace that we just did. And the range is going to be beginning at that same point and ending 1 point further. Okay, so let's translate. It's a bit of a mouthful, huh? Just for backspace, but and if we were implementing our own editor, then we wouldn't have to go through these hoops. But yeah, it's a prototype, so fine, let's do it. So we will be looking at event content change. So let's just make some is backspace boolean, and then we'll try and work our way. We'll print it, and we'll work our way to implement something there. And so we're going to be looking inside the content change event, and specifically, well, it's an array. Okay, well, so there's one thing there. We're going to only deal with the case where the array has one element. It's okay for now. We can map over it in the map thing later. And then we will do what? So now we have a range. And we have everything. So first of all, we need to have text is nothing, and I guess we could triple equal it. Okay, and then we'll say end, and we'll want what else? We'll want our range offset to be. So how do we keep track of the length of our current buffer? We could do this through VS Code, but I think it makes more sense to call project log alpha. And in this case, it makes me wonder whether I should actually store it in a variable, and I'm being like memory conscious right now, but I think, again, for the sake of prototyping, I'm going to say that we're going to call this buffer. We're going to initialize it with the empty string, but we will mutate it so we don't feel as bad, maybe. We're functional programmers. We feel bad when we mutate. Not really. We feel like we're doing something dangerous when we mutate. That's we live dangerously. Okay, we console log the buffer, and I probably, tag it to say what we're doing. And oh, I've been writing backspace, which is not anything. Okay, backspace is better. And right, so now we have a buffer, which we can say, okay, well, range offset is equal to the length of the buffer, and I think there is a length property on a string in JavaScript, so we're happy, -1. That's what I was saying before. And of course, it would be nice if it was only that, but I think that it's not only that, because we know that if we, hit backspace, well, maybe it is only that. Is there another case where text is going to be empty, range offset is going to be the before to last character? And what else could have happened? No, because we do need to specify that that the range is of length 1, but could the range be of a different length? I think it doesn't make sense, but we'll still go deep inside the array, the range. That is an array. Oh. Yeah, I'm surprised that the range is an array, because I would think that it only has ever a bottom and a top. But maybe ranges can be multi-ranges, you know, when there's like multiple cursors and you can write things at a different place in the document at the same time with only one keystroke. Hey, Juan. Oh, yeah, thanks for the reminder. You're right. I should definitely take a little break now. Mango smoothie. That looks lovely. You're going to try? I think you're going to succeed. So I'll catch up with you when I'm back. All right. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. And we are back. All right, that was a lovely pause. And what were we doing? Well, we were implementing backspace detection with like this strange event structure and trying to work our way through it. And yeah, I was commenting that probably this array structure for range was meant for like multi-range cursor kind of thing. Let's check this intuition by looking at the documentation for range. A range represents an ordered pair of two positions. It is guaranteed that start is before or equal to end. Oh, so it's really just a pair. So then in that case, okay. Well, I guess it's just that there's no such thing as a pair in JavaScript. So therefore, it's a pair. It's an array. Okay. And there's different constructors, but we don't necessarily care about that. I mean, I suppose it would be lovely if there was a is backspace, you know, function, but it's fine. We can implement it ourselves. Okay, so range. So dot range 0 is the lower bound, and we do want this to be equal to buffer length, and range 1 is -1, I mean, and then that's going to be equal to buffer length. And so, okay, let's try it. I have some code. I'm ready to be wrong, but I'd be happy to be right. Let's do it. Okay, and starting and it's activating. And what am I going to do now? Oh yeah, I'll probably, well, yeah, I'll continue with activate. Okay, so X backspace false, that's correct, and then is backspace false. No! Oh no, this is failure. We've just, we didn't make it the first time around, but it makes sense, you know, this is not a strongly typed functional programming language. Nah, I'm just kidding, it's just me. Okay, let's try and make it work. So text, so I suppose we're going to have to, maybe we'll bisect it and just try half of the Boolean expression and see what's up. Range offset is a number. I'm just wondering whether there's going to be some type related issues now. Buffer length. Oh, it could be also that I'm doing like off by one errors here. Such a common thing. So let's see. Oh, I also haven't started music. I just realized this. All right. Okay, so let's do activate again. And then backspace. And is backspace true? Okay, so that's good. And then let's check out our range to see what we did wrong, because maybe oh yeah, range was actually a null range. Yeah, oh no, it wasn't. It was 7, 8, so, oh, range has structure. I didn't mean range 0, I mean range 0 dot character. But you know what? I think I actually going to need an operation on ranges to do this properly, because since it has line numbers, when I'm going to be doing this from you know, the next line to the previous line, then I'm going to be it's not going to work correctly. So let's see. How do I well, I don't have a monoid or a group instance on ranges because we're in JavaScript, but we have intersection. That no, not really. I don't want that. Yeah. Width. What is width? I do not like this track. I will fast forward it. Contains. Well, oh, is single line is a Boolean. So I suppose at least this would allow us to, oh, hold on, and actually, right, so we could access line and character directly, but we could also get a position. And what's a position? Oh, yeah, where a position is a character in the line. Okay, so we could use is empty, but no, actually we couldn't, not for the backspace, because that range is not empty. It contains one character that has been deleted. So yeah, so then we might use a single line and just have a special case for when we backspace from the next line to the previous line. So that makes things even more ugly and special casey, and I don't like it. I'd prefer if we actually were able to convert these line character coordinates to an offset. But that's part of the line-based piece table that VS Code uses for its own internal data structure. So I understand why it's there. And yeah, so let's fix this by saying range 0 dot character and range 1 dot character, and then that should get us where we want, at least for the single line case. And then we'll need to check what we do for cursor being moved inside the line, and then we'll do the multi-line case. Okay, and let's paste activate. Oh, whoa, I pasted a whole bunch of things. And I put myself in the special case I was talking about, the one that I said I'd do later. So let's test it. Well, indeed, we don't detect that correctly, but do we detect this one? No, we don't. Yes, the reason being that that our projection hasn't been updated the first time around. So there's a kind of an invariant to maintain here. So I actually need to restart, meaning that if we get out of sync, then we won't be able to detect things properly. And that is the nature of wrapping things the way we do. And this starts looking very much like every single JavaScript code that I look at, which means, very DIY. Okay, so activate and then backspace. Okay, what happened there? I think we got an error that just didn't get displayed. Is that probably? Right, because I think even though range is this array, you know what? I think I want to see what a range, because actually what probably happens, no, I'm not even sure what happens here. I think it crashed, but it's just not showing it. Yeah, I think I'm trying to access it like an array, and when we console log it, it shows like an array, but I think it's not really an array. So I think we need to call .end and .start in order to get the characters. So let's try this. Range .end and .start. Yeah, actually, you see that the auto complete is in fact showing this. So let's restart. And let's try activate again. Okay, and backspace. Okay, well, this time it didn't crash, but we are still not there exactly. So let's try and find. Oh, I inverted start and end is what I did. Okay, so okay, we don't need to troubleshoot it or to debug it quite yet. I think this makes sense as an error, except like there's some weird color variation going on there. It is and then start, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, well. All right, let's try again. And backspace, true. All right, so I have confidence in this now. Now we're able to detect the backspace. So we're mapping over the content changes and getting the text out of it. I think we can refactor this by saying text dot for each and all the rest. So we avoid. Oh, so then in that case, even we're sort of doing a for each on the content change, which is fine. We don't need to. We're actually mutating things here, and you know, it's okay. But that allows us to do a detection for backspace that actually is not going to pattern match on text here, but is going to pattern match on, well, range offset and range. And then we can quite significantly simplify our Boolean expression. And I'm, yeah, like range offset, that's right. And range and range and then we can, well, let's at least reformat it like this, and then let's test it again. Okay. Forget about the formatting. And backspace. Oh no, it doesn't work anymore. Expand range, bench, buffer is equal to not. Right. Okay, for each, well, text. That looks right, str. But we don't see the buffer being displayed anymore, so it seems like we're stuck somewhere, or content changes, array of 1, text, range offset, and range. All of these seem right. This for each here should not be an issue. Log alpha. Oh, our text. What is this? What is this doing here? Okay, there was this. I'm a little bit worried about the fact that all of these errors get swallowed. So let's see. VS Code extension. How is it called? This thing? Development host. Errors are swallowed. Stack traces getting swallowed when developing VS Code extensions. You can add an unhandled rejection handler. Okay. So other people have that problem, but this is not satisfying answer. This code is actually showing more errors. Extension host. Okay, so that's the help page for yeah, extension host, the Node.js process in VS Code responsible for loading and running extensions. I guess no, we're actually the extension, the development extension host. Yeah, and there's really not a lot of info right here. Debugging extensions. Yeah, debugging extensions sounds like a good title. Creating an extension, running and debugging. Okay, well, yeah, stepping is fine. Compiling, launching. Actually, that's the same as the docs, but in this read the docs format. So it compiles, but debug console and set breakpoints, but I feel like that's not a thing. Even though there's this easy to set up early environment, it looks like it's not very polished. That's a bit sad. There's another way to see the. I mean, this is using Electron. So in theory, we should be able to show the Chrome debugger, where maybe there are messages that are not visible here. So let's see if we can do that. VS Code Chrome debugger, or maybe Electron code debugger. Debugger for Electron. Debugging Electron render process with VS Code Chrome. No, debugging, that's not gonna be it. VS Code Chrome debug. Okay, how is it called in Inspector, maybe? Electron VS Code, whoopsie. There's all manner of ways in which this is hard to find. VS Code being an IDE, then there's going to be lots of collisions in my search terms. Okay, well, okay, I think we're gonna have to live with this crappy environment, and then yeah, we'll just try and wrap up this prototype and make most things happen in the browser. That's going to be maybe more pleasant an adventure. Yeah, this is in fact starting to make me think that maybe doing it in the browser fast is going to be good, because we're not going to have any of these problems. We're going to be able to debug faster. Yeah, okay, decision taken. We're changing the plan. So I guess the simplest thing then would be to in fact to use Parcel in Purescript chronofold. And just do this with the text area at the beginning. Yeah. And then we can go from there. So I'll change the log. I'll shut down this remove the folder from workspace. I'll update the log, and we'll backtrack on this, and we'll do instead, okay, prototype v2 is going to be simple browser text area. Hey Juan, yeah, my day is great. I'm really happy it's Friday. Got to hang out with my friend before the stream. Yeah, you know, yeah, I feel like, you know, I don't have to stop the stream necessarily after an hour and a half today. I can maybe go a little bit longer, and, you know, and sleep late tomorrow morning. All of these things are filling me with happiness. How about you? How's your day starting? How is this mango smoothie? Oh, I already created a browser chronofold thing in there. Aha, yeah, sure thing. Oh no. So it's not mango. What was it? Right, so I think it's possible to import the library with which command is it already? I think this has changed a bit. Ooh, yeah, that's like nice. Yeah, definitely. All right. Yeah, I suppose interesting is not exactly what you're necessarily after in a drink, but you know, hopefully it's the right kind of interesting. Although that's not true, I guess, right? If you're at a bar and there's a good mixologist that give you a good cocktail, then saying that it's interesting would be perfectly fine. Upstream with new package name. It's not like this. Huh. Yeah, your own modified version of some dependency. That's the case, but you're not giving me the example. Like there used to be a really simple way to do this, and I'm now gonna have to go dig into my other code in order to find it. So let's do that. Let's do it from here probably. Open folder, not open folder. I'm going to add a folder to the workspace. Very good joke. I like it. Okay. Yeah, I think it will be in my libraries. So I'll just import the whole code thing, but I think it will be in the libraries folder here. I have examples of importing like I think maybe not right here. Maybe it's in Kit that I do import lots of things. The package.dal. Yeah, that's right. That is here. So yeah, I used to do this with overrides, which allow you to, so I'm going to copy paste this and, oh yeah, and then it merged but it's not the recommended way to do things anymore. So yeah, I just need to adapt. They have so much doc on this, but they don't give this simple example of how to source a local package. That's I mean, that's a bit sad. So it was overrides. Let overrides blah. So that seems similar. And then additions. Hold on, what am I doing? I'm not in the right place here. Oh, I am. No, I'm not. This is the right place. Right. Okay, I get it. The package.dal already was built with an earlier version of dal or Spago. And this is built with the newer version. So that's the one that I want to replace. And so it used to be that we did in upstream and then merge with overrides. And I think I'll just do that for now. And we just need to import chronofall here. And it's in, well, what's the, yeah, it's in dash library Purescript chronofold. And like this, let's see if we can build that. We need to maybe create a new terminal for it. How do events work in Haskell? Does it note all events, or do you need to program it to note each event that happened and log it? So let me try to see what you mean. So because events can mean quite a number of things. So do you mean, like, for instance, if you do like a user interface with Haskell or something like that, or because you could also, you know, receive an event through like you know, network event, or like basically IO could give you events. Oh, event. Wow. Let me try and remember what I said. I think so. When I was talking earlier about events in the for VS the VS Code extension, we were trying to. But when we were doing that, we were, you know, well. First of all, we were in JavaScript, and then we were using the events that were provided to us by the VS Code extension development process. Or let's say VS Code was giving us events. In Purescript, you would do events by, so depending if you do Purescript, that you're running Purescript on Node, or if you're running Purescript in the browser, then I guess your event, and so that's actually what we'll start doing with the browser chronofall here, that we'll receive our events from the browser. The browser is going to tell us when the user is, you know, pressing the keyboard key, or, you know, moving the cursor to a different place. Actually, it's not going to tell us that. I just thought the text area in HTML is, I don't think, oh, maybe, no, maybe we can get an event out of that. And so all of these events are going to be given to us by the browser and by the DOM, the document object model, which is the sort of the abstraction that you use when you're programming in JavaScript inside the browser. So then you get events from the browser. And then, you know, that would be, let's say, what it would exist outside your Purescript code. It would be, you know, generated by by the browser, and then it would be shipped. Those events would be shipped through the JavaScript, and then at some point you'd get them into Purescript. And then when you're in Purescript, then you would be dealing with events in the way that a strongly typed functional programming language would deal with events. And what are those ways? Well, there are quite a number of them. One of the ones that's quite well known is functional reactive programming. And in functional reactive programming, you get you deal with events as if they were continuous or sometimes discrete streams of things that are coming to you. And so there's a specific way to program in this way. I've been playing around quite a lot with this library, Purescript run streaming, which is something we could use for events. So we could decide to make it so that whenever the browser is generating some event, then it becomes an element in a stream, and then we're dealing with it that way. So to come back to your question, and by the way, like right now, because we're trying to do browser things, that would be using Purescript, but if we were using Haskell, then it would apply pretty much the same. So to say the same thing in the Haskell world, in Haskell, instead of interacting with the browser, you'd be interacting, let's say, with either the operating system directly through a library, or with maybe a graphics framework that will give you mouse pointer events or keyboard pointer events. So there's a few of those, like Gloss is the one that we're looking at in our in our Haskell stream when we're doing GPU stuff. They use Gloss for that, so they can output things to put on a screen, and then they can also receive commands from the mouse or peripherals in general. And then you'd have the same thing that I was telling you in Purescript, which is that you have this thing that happens outside the Haskell world, and then you get them up to the border, let's say, of your Haskell country. And then at that point, you'd be free to deal with the events in a kind of a purely functional manner. And then there's a number of ways that you could do that. You could do and those ways then start to be exactly similar to the ways that you would do it in Purescript. You can do functional reactive programming, and that's usually what people do when they want to deal with event-driven code in Haskell or Purescript. But I'm quite interested in this approach, which is a little bit more abstract, but I think this has maybe more potential to do more fancy stuff with time, which is something I'm quite interested in. Yeah, maybe I'm giving you a maybe too broad overview, but with general purpose programming languages, you often have like lots of different ways to do the same thing. So, and usually events are not necessarily something that's like a primitive in a language. You don't necessarily have, it's rare a programming language that has an event type actually. Usually you have libraries that repurpose your integers and your functions and somehow your objects or whatnot, and then give you an event type out of that. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I think maybe if you see how I'm going to, maybe it's not going to be so obvious because it's going to take me a while to get to, I'm going to start, this browser thing. And so we'll get a little bit of JavaScript and we'll deal with events in JavaScript probably at the beginning. And then maybe I'll start migrating this to Purescript. But I might try and show some FRP, some functional reactive programming, just to show you how it works. But I'm interested in like some stuff that it's a little bit more abstract, which gives kind of a lot of potential, like what I was saying, like dealing with time in a more fancy manner. Yeah, so let's try and see whether we can build this with this. So there's no spago down in here, so maybe my path is not right. Yeah, I need to go to the 2 parents up in there. Okay, good. So now it's able at least to find our kernel library. And then let me think for a second, what's a good way to just get started with the raw sort of browser setup. Let me see. Purescript, simple HTML. What's this? Simple DOM, web HTML. That's going to be all a little bit. I don't need to go. Also, I'm heading to do Purescript all the way, but maybe I should, because otherwise maybe I'm just going to drive myself crazy trying to do some JavaScript again. I think I don't want to do React. I also don't want to do Purview, which would be quite interesting to do. Or Halogen, or any more advanced concept like that. Basically, I think I want to avoid using a library for this. That's the. But then I might be quite limited from the get-go. Let's see, is there an awesome Purescript page? And what's in there these days? Use UI library. Oh, Thermite. Yeah, but that wraps React. I don't want to wrap React. I mean, you know, I've done a lot of that, but I want to avoid doing this right now. Optic UI. Oh, that sounds excitingly interesting. Huh. Optic is that thing that when Car Optical was around, we were talking about optics. So maybe it would be quite fun to try and do web stuff with optics. Huh. Oh, but this is unmaintained. This is 4 or 5 years old, so no, I can't go with that. So those are all of the kind of the event-driven. I mean, React also has a concept of events in some ways. But those are more like the event-driven libraries in the Purescript world. I've done some Flare before. That could be interesting. So SDOM, isn't that like Purview? That's Phil stuff. Phil Freeman stuff. Phil Freeman is the author of Purescript. So that would be actually quite interesting, but I thought that Purview was a more recent instance of that. UI library based on but it's proof of concept. Yeah, in Purescript SDOM, I try to remove the need for the virtual DOM by using types to force parts of the DOM structure to be static and then exploiting that in order to remove the need for a diff algorithm. Here, I take a different approach. I restrict the rendering function model view to the class of incrementalizable functions. So I think actually I don't need to go that far. I think SDOM might be sufficient, and it's still a library and there's still some overhead in just getting to understand it, but also it might not be ready to use. Purescript 0.12, I think we're at 0.13 now. Components. Most people are doing React these days, which kind of makes sense. In the browser. And on the more advanced side of things, there's Halogen, and I guess Halogen is not. Yeah, it's not React. It's virtual DOM based though, yeah. So maybe SDOM is kind of what I'm interested in right now. Outwatch, I think, is also now unmaintained. I think it was moved to being used in Scala, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's right, that's the one. Turbine, FRP. I don't want the mental overhead of FRP. So I think SDOM is actually sort of the right middle ground. Okay, let's look at the code for an example and just see whether we like it or not. Canvas we're not going to do. Task list, okay. No, let's not look at text list. Let's look at counter. Let's start simple. Map this thing and just attaches, which probably comes from SDOM, yeah. L, which comes from the JavaScript, and then 0, I'm not sure, but then passes the counter, and the counter, this SDOM, that has a channel, so something to communicate, I suppose, and a context, but yeah, we don't know what the type of SDOM is at this point. But it takes an int and it returns an int. You know what? I kind of like that. So let's just try to copy paste this code, put it in main, import the libraries we need, make file. What? Yeah, no. So we're gonna need. Well, I bet that Spago install SDOM is not gonna work because that's not updated. Yeah. So we're going to need to put this inside here, which is fine. We're just going to do, yeah, we're going to do it the old way because I don't want to learn the old way, the new way yet. And merge this with additions, and we're going to import path31 Purescript as DOM, and it depends on event, profunctor, refs with DOM. Let's hope this hasn't moved too much, and web HTML. And we, oh wow, profunctor lenses for the dev dependency, so it must be used in the tests. Okay, let's try to build it. And okay, web HTML window. Oh, I have additions. Do I need to install again? Doesn't look like it. I did get it. Oh, Smash, that's the wrong one. It should be SDOM. And then I need to install SDOM, of course. Spago install SDOM. Okay, that's good news. And build. Then we're going to need some HTML as well, I believe. Counter. So we'll put it in HTML. New folder. Oh. Yeah, I discovered today that you could write, I think that's a search. Yeah, you can type inside the Explorer interface and it will display like this. Oh, this is annoying. Like when on Windows, when the file system is doing something, then you lose focus on this. Yeah, maybe break time. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's. Hey, how about let me try to finish and compile this. If I don't finish in 5 minutes, then I'll take a break. But I think this is doable because now we have build succeeded, and so in theory, depending on how things are imported here, so this gets an index.js. So I suppose that the make file is doing that. So I think if we do Okay, I forget how this works. I think I have it in Purescript somewhere. Maybe not. Do I use Parcel here? No, because I use React Native here, so no. So it must be an experiment. Okay, Purescript Parcel. Yes. Package.json. We parcel index.html. And we source index.html. Ah, yes, of course, I get it now. So we do new file index.js here. And then we import we import main from output main, and we run main. Or, well, that's, yeah. So we import main from output main, and then we run main.main, I believe. And then we do parcel index.html. Parcel index.html. npx parcel. Maybe I should install Parcel. That would probably be a better idea. Dev dependency Parcel bundler. I think that's probably the better way to do it. Yeah. Okay. Right, it's in HTML here. Oh, you know what? I could actually do this in the root. It might be simpler. And looks like we've lost this console, but it's all right. We can start a new one. And npi save dev parcel bundler. It's not how you write bundler. And I think I'll let the npm install the parcel bundler and take a little 2 or 3 minute break and be right back. All right, I'm back and this is still installing. Why is it downloading? I scored what? I'm a bit surprised at the kind of stuff that it's downloading here. I got it. I haven't initiated this as a node. I need to do npm init here. So it was finding some package.json like way over somewhere, some other place, and installing who knows what. Yeah, it was taking way too much time. It's just not right. Now it should be better. Yeah, and so the principle is then that we'll run parcel.html, and that's a bundler. So it's going to load index.html, and it's going to be like, oh, I need to load index.js. It's going to follow index.js. And it's just going to bundle all of the code that's linked to it into a JavaScript bundle. And serve it and also watch the file, so we should be able to update our code and have it reload automatically. So all good things, hopefully, if this works. Let's look at the other. There was a dev2 article for that. Let's see if they do anything interesting for us. They do Parcel, but they use Pulp, whereas we use Spago. And the install finish. So let's try Parcel index.html. See what that gives us. You don't find it right because we're on Windows, and I think we have to find it manually. So let's try that. Yeah, server running, building. We have an address to go to. It's bundling. Yeah, it's traversing all of our libraries, which are in the output folder, and we have our counter, and it works. Okay, wonderful. So we have a JavaScript, thanks to Phil. Thanks to Phil multiple times, because we're using his language and his fancy libraries and his example. And what's going on there? Yes, okay, fine. Yeah, we can delete that if that makes you happy. There we go. And so, yeah, so we have nice and elegant code. And so that means that we should be able to do something like change this with, let's say, like chronofold, right? The text, and save, and it should repackage and reload, and we have chronofold on screen. So now we're doing web development, and so now we're going to want elements from the SDOM libraries, specifically. Well, we're going to take a look at the docs, module documentation, and that gives us the type for everything. And text is what? Text is a text node. So we want a text area, so that should be an element here. And maybe area is going to do it. So let's say this is area, and it should take, let's see if this just compiles. It doesn't. Was this button underscore? No, it was area. And but maybe I'm confused, and maybe it's text area. And yeah, it is. I was confused, and it is text area. Just temporary confusion. And if we reload, hey, we have a text area. Oh wow, that's fun. We have a text area that. Hold on, let me reload this. What was happening there? We have a text area that increments like a button. Wow, that is some resilient code. Like wow. It picks up that there's an event click and oh, I love this language. Okay, so here we deal with events. So you see that we're, to go back to your question one, here we have events, which are SDOM events. And so those are going to be JavaScript events gotten from the DOM, so the document object model. And we have click and change. Oh, perfect. We actually are interested in change. I mean, we could keep click is, why not? But I think we want change. And change takes a context and a value, and then we can get the value, and we can do something like what? Like, well, oh, it's well, I'm going to need to understand a little bit this library, which is a little bit different than what I've done before, but let's see. So we get the change and the event. That returns a handler. Yeah. And so we return an E. E is completely open, so it could be. I think it's it's actually the type of our wrapping of the SDOM element that we created. So let's check this assumption. SDOM. What are these two things? I and O. I is the type of the model used as input, and O is the type of the model used as an output. And so events raised by the component may change the model by providing a function of type I to O. And so is that sort of what we had here? Well, we had context to event to E. Context to event. So we ignore context and event here, and we just what do? We ignore context and event, and we return an E. So, and that E is an int. So we want something different. We want to output a string. So let's see if we can do something like that. And then instead of, we'll append, well, actually, we'll do it on click, just to test that we're understanding the library correctly. And we'll append the value on string, and then, well, I guess we'll say that both the input and the output are string, and we pass a string here. And we won't call this counter anymore, we'll call this editor, because this is our new fancy text editor. Okay, it's reloading, and okay, and so now, well, so on init, this seemed credible. Oh no, it's on click that I'm going to add things to it. But yeah, I'm not getting. Oh, right. So I'm going to add click. That's okay. Let's reload. Click. Yeah, okay. That works. So now instead of something like this, so the text is still going to be showing. It's actually going to. Well, we're going to import our chronofold. Import data.chronofold. Oh wow, my stress level from working with JavaScript has just completely vanished. That's pretty amazing. And right, haven't we said that where chronofold was? We did, so why do you not know? Oh, because I say where it was, but I didn't install it. Spago installed chronofold. Okay. That's all right. We can do that. Missing dependency. And we install. And that looks reasonable. Type level prelude. Yeah, I guess that we were making some tests with that. And then we parcel again. The initial load is a little bit slow. No, actually it's good at detecting what's been built before, so that's all nice. And where were we? Yeah, we were hoping to get a chronofold in there, but for that we needed to build at least once, and it's not going to build by itself. I need to exit and build, I think at least once. Yeah, a whole bunch of new things to compile. It's possible that the ID was actually on its way to do to compile, but it was taking a bit longer since we've imported a whole bunch of packages here. Oh, what? Apparently imported too many things. Unknown value npm in benchmark. Oh, what? Oh, okay, I must have polluted this. There an npm in here? Yeah, there is. Okay, there's some extraneous stuff going on here that shouldn't be here. So let's rebuild. Should be fast. Lots of warnings, but it succeeds, and so we can run Parcel again. Okay, and we can save this. And now it tells us that it's redundant because we don't use it, but that's all good. So let's check it still works. It does. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We are going to do, well, pretty much similar to what we were doing with our VS Code implementation, right? So maybe I should bring it back up just as a model, because we're not going to do anything much different. In fact, it must be in here in my experiments, no? Yes. And so in extension.js, what were we doing? First thing we were doing was create the replica and then append the root thing. So in fact, we got this code from our test, I believe, and so now we can sort of copy paste it, because we're back to be in the land of the sane in Purescript. So let's yeah, we should have to only do this, but where do we do this though? For now, let's say that this is top level. And then what? Then, well, then in the extension, we were doing what? We were waiting for an event, and when we get an event, well, first thing we did was to just build this Snock string and append the event onto it, right? So first thing we want to do here is, well, we want to import debug trace, because I don't know how all this works quite yet, and we'll want to check what we can get from this E here, which I think is supposed to be an event. And to do that, we are going to then just spy on it, I think. Yeah, we'll do the const trick where we will say const this, but spy on E. And I think it's the event E. Okay, does this... It looks like it actually does build, doesn't it? Yeah, it does build. So let's reload here. And so if I click... Oh yeah, I need to open the inspector here. And we get the mouse event. Ha! Oh boy, I love it. Alright, sounds good. See you in a bit, one. So if we make this change, then now if I click, I don't get an event, but if I do A, oh no, I still don't get an event. Do I get an event when I do... well, apparently something created it, but what was this event? Event phase 2, target timestamp, path. Huh. It's not clear whether we are... Oh, there's a second event right there. I'm not sure we're getting where we want out of this. Let's see what C has in it. It's supposed to be the context, and I don't actually know what this is supposed to be. It's actually not even... Yeah, it's for all context here, so... Yeah, it's empty. Okay. So change... okay, now I'm starting to have a small doubt, which is that maybe this library is not... Because it hasn't been used, it's not impossible that some stuff is actually not wired properly. So events, change handler change. It's actually just a wrapper around web event. So that's actually fairly easy to reproduce if we have the right events in web events. So let's go check out Pursuit and the web package, the web event package, web event events, and what do we have here? Target, well, event type. Okay, so hold on, let me go back here. Huh. So the handler function takes a string. Okay, we need to look at what this handler function is. I suppose it's in the sdom file. Yep, handler. An event handler can be associated with an element. Handler, event name. Okay, so it just passes a name, and then the F is that function. And it uses, yeah, it creates the event and gets the listener. I've seen this pattern before. I can unsubscribe from it. And so what is the, how does this hook up? It's the event name, so it's the JavaScript event name. Okay, so if it's the JavaScript event name, then we want to know how we get text area in HTML to give us events. And it should be on change. Text area on change detection. Or maybe we have to specify something. Right, on key up and on change. On change we prevent context menu pasting. Oh, well, we don't care about that. So on key up. Okay, so we'll create a new event, which should be, in fact, fairly simple. We can just copy what's there. So we'll we'll call it key up, and then we'll define it as handler key up. And we need to import the web event and handler. That's in SDOM. Maybe we import the whole of SDOM. Okay, this compiles, and so okay, now we need to use the key up event. Well, actually, we don't need to do events dot. We can say key up, and then we want to spy the event. Let's go check it out. Oh, is it already rebuilt? It looks like it is. So if I click E, yeah, we get keyboard events, and then if I hit backspace, I get a nice backspace event. That is going to be so much more sane than what I was trying to do with the VS Code extension. Oh my. Okay, so lovely. So what do we do then? We have an event. We want to transform it into an op is one of the answers for that. So we do what? Maybe we do a to-op function or something that maybe takes the value. Oh, but maybe our value is the log. Holy moly, that's going to be so elegant if that's the case. And I think that's the case. Ooh, I'm getting excited there. Because then it means also that we can pass alpha log root as the initial value for editor. Oh my god, this is so much simpler. And then to-op is going to be a function from log and event to log. That's what we want. And so it shouldn't be called to-op, then it should be called update log. Let's call it update. And so how do we do that? Well, we have a log, fine, call it L, an event, let's call it E. We know that, so that's going to be update. And then, yeah, we pass E to update. Value is the log, so I suppose we can call this log here, huh? And then we update the log, and then here we say log and and it's not going to be show log, it's going to be show project log. I mean, I suppose, yeah, that's my that's my Unicode math thingy that's getting a little bit crazy here. I'm not even sure how to circumvent it. Yeah, if I enter space, okay, I just need to temporarily remove this. This is not pleasant, but hey, it happens. Project log, right? Okay, we put this back here. And then, so an event, okay, an event has a keyboard event. So let's look at what a keyboard event is in, there should be a type for the keyboard event, shouldn't there? In the DOM event here. I'm not sure how to find it though. Web events. Keyboard. No, there's no keyboard in here. Okay, Purescript web keyboard event. Web UI events. Okay. function that export the keyboard event. And then we have mouse events and other things. I'm a little bit surprised that it's in its own library. Let's see if it's been updated recently. Last month. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, that's all good. It's so let's import it, and let's try to do this from inside a new terminal so that we leave our Parcel running, and then let's spago install web UI events. Apparently that's fine, and then spago build, and then let's look at the docs again. Hold on, where am I? Docs are here, I believe, or here. Yeah, here. And so we should be getting, I mean, I hope that this hooks up to the web event type properly. Ah, yes, there's a from event. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's actually awesome. So I can do a from event here, and that needs to be from, wow, look at this, that's good. Input, focus, composition, blah. Where is my keyboard event? Oh, here, keyboard event. And then what? Then event to, so it from event E. So now we have a keyboard event, so we can do just. So if we have just something here, that's going to be a keyboard event. We'll call it K. If we have nothing, then what do? We just return the log that we got in. So we're good. And if we get a keyboard event, then we will case on whether it's something or another. What are we going to get from it? Keyboard, the key. Yes. There's key location, control key. There's no backspace here, but I think we should be able to map key with, yeah, so case key K off, and then there's backspace, and then there's everything else. And for everything, for backspace, for now, we just say we don't do anything. And for everything else, we build a log from the string, and we know how to do that. We can take a look at our test code in main. This is so, I mean, basically I feel like I'm coding at more or less the thought that I'm thinking with Purescript right now, whereas with VS Code, I was just spending all my time thinking about VS Code. So this is good. This is what I like about this style. Okay, so we append, we could do it from char. I'm wondering whether, in fact, if the library is sane enough, it's not completely possible that we receive, like when we did this backspace. Let's look at a little bit of this. Char code is 0 here. So, oh no, key code is 8. So 8 is kind of exactly what we'd like. If we have 8, and here was 68, yeah, so maybe we can map the key code to that returns a string representation of the physical key on the keyboard, not affected by keyboard layout or state or the modifier keys. Now, I think we want a non-empty Unicode character string. I think we want key. That's better. But then we're building code point from char. I think we can do that. It's just going to be a little bit less. Let's just do it with the string thing. I think the string thing might not be the most efficient, but we can optimize later. So we just build snog string ops, which takes a log and a string and returns an array of ops. Exactly. Thank you very much. That's exactly what we want. So where are we? Browser chronofold, source, main. So now we build this snog string up, and it needs a log. We'll have one. It's L, and then we give back a string, and so that's S. That's our string S, and then that gives us an array of op, So we could do a number of things here. Let's do a let statement. Let's say that ops equals build string ops, and then that what we return is a new log, and that new log is going to be append ops of L and ops. And believe it or not, but that's pretty much it. That's a little bit crazy. Okay, this is just event.event. And I think key is from the same place as from event here. Oopsie. And update is, oh, it's not the right type. Oh, we have conflicting definition because we imported data map wholesale, and that's not what we wanted to do at all. And we compile and we rebuild, and then what? Okay, well, first of all, it interpreted alpha log root as this, which is because we showed a string. So I remove show, and we start with an empty thing, and then I say A. Well, actually, I don't even have anything to show what's up. How could I do that? Well, I'll use the spy thing again. So I const this. I'm doing the crazy stuff. So I const this, and actually, I think I can keep a space there, so that's fine. And then I'll spy on my log, and we'll display log, actually not even the projection. We want to kind of follow what's up in the log. So I get a log, so that's my basic log, and then I do A, and I have a new log. I actually showed two logs there already. Why do I show two logs? B. Oh, so it's looks like it's running this thing twice. I'm not sure why, but you know, it seems like it's working. I think we are already appending our chronofold there. Like it's growing, like, you know, like array 4. That's the size of our chronofold, and it's correct. Wow. And so if I backspace, okay, so here we have kind of a special case, and it looks like it's array 5, whereas it should have appended. Right. Also, the other thing is that actually I haven't told the text, the JavaScript, the browser text area to not do its normal stuff. I think I need to do something like prevent default event or something like that. I forget how it's called exactly, but I need to do that. So this might give us a false sense that this is working. Text area prevent default event. Prevent default when user inputs particular keys in the text area. Hey Barry, how's it going? Good to see you. How's your Friday so far? How would I prevent defaults in Purescript? In fact, that's another thing. And is preventing default even the right strategy? Good, excellent. Yeah, you know, it's my first full-time week of work since like maybe, you know, 9 months or something. So it's my first Friday night after a full week of work, and that feels awesome. It feels really good. Like, wow, that's amazing to end the week with the weekend. So pleasant. Yeah, thanks. And we're it's funny, like I was trying to do this new job, that's right, after 9 months of not having a job, so it's a little bit of a change. And yeah, I was trying to do this prototype using like VS Code as my editor or something, and then I started to get into painful stuff because I had to write JavaScript to do that. And I just, at some point, I just got had enough, and in the middle of the stream, just switched to building a prototype in Purescript instead. And yeah, it went so fast. I'm basically pretty much at the same state as I was with the VS Code extension after just, I don't know, like maybe 20 minutes. And it was so much easier to write as well, so much more natural. Just love strongly typed functional programming. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay, then I do need to see how to deactivate HTML. Oh, actually, I know what I could do. I think I could not use the text area. I could use something that's like just a div, and that would still emit key up events, but it wouldn't be a text area. And so if I type in it, yeah, I need to give the div a little bit of things like some dimensions or whatnot. Okay, let's do that. SDOM. Elements, div, and array of attributes, and right, so attributes that give like some width and height, basically, right? That's kind of so SDOM attributes. And is there no such thing as how's that gonna work? Okay, maybe I need to look at an example. Example. To do, that should have plenty of attributes, I presume. Prop. Oh, as proxy. Div underscore. Okay, I think I forgot to give us some downs to this track before. Prop seems... Is that the right thing? Span, description, text box. I'm not sure what a prop is, really. SDOM and okay, I didn't mean to completely turn off the music though. All right, it's back. Oh, there's components. What are components? Text box. All right, those are SDOM things. Yeah, well, that makes all sense, but we don't need that. We're building our own. And then attribute. Oh, I see. Maybe I just need to write my own. Is the oops? I don't need to fork you, but I do need to check out your code, and that might be okay. That's gonna be in SRC and in attributes. Yeah, it's going to just be ATTR width or whatever. So let's do that. TTR width. And then just some value, takes a string, and then a function from, okay, so maybe const, that's not the most elegant, and returns a string. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, so just const, oh, hold on, that has to, okay, so we'll do a lambda. and we return 400, which is not the best to do just with, but this could be easily changed. Okay, ATTR comes from well, yeah, indeed, it comes from SDOM whoopsie, attributes, yeah, and oh, is that not exported? It's not exported. That's not good. So there must be a way to no, there isn't. Oh, that's a bit okay, fine. I'll create my own ATTR or copy paste the ATTR and use it without remorse. Need set attribute. That's okay. And it builds. And do we have a wheel? Well, okay, maybe I need some basic styling. How am I going to do that? Well, style, I suppose. Is that really nothing? Oh, class name. Okay, I could have CSS. I could do that. Yes. I suppose. I suppose I could do CSS. Oh, okay, yeah, there is CSS there, so maybe it makes sense to do CSS. Or I could actually just do it for everybody. Is that gonna be built? It is. And what is this? Why do I get hovering? Because I just added it hovering CSS. Okay. Okay, well, onChange doesn't seem to work on a div. Fine, will it work with a span? I mean, I think it should work with a div, but okay, that's a small span. But no, it's not working. Span with 400. Oh, well, I don't seem to be very much respecting the stuff here. And is there an event listener on this? There is an event listener on this, but well, yes, it's not working. Okay, fine. What can you do key up on? I don't want to do it on a text area. HTML div and key up events. I mean, shouldn't this just work? There's a focus thing, maybe. Div by default cannot be given focus. However, you can change that by adding a tab index attribute to the... Okay. You can then give focus and also blur it with a hover element. When the div has focus, it will accept keyboard events. Well, that sounds exactly like what I want. So let's go back to div. And here as well. And then let's write this array a bit more in the functional style. And so we want what? We want tab index. Okay. Half tab index. And indeed, oh wow, we were in it as well. Oh my god, this works. And excitement ensues. Wonderful. Okay, now I shall wonder why. Oh, because I have a div inside a div, and so both are getting my CSS. That's what's happening. Okay. So then, fine, I'll use a class name. Now I feel like I can do that. And okay, well, you receive. Is there a const for 2 parameters? By const? I don't know. So we call this, well, editor. And then we'll go back to our CSS and we'll say that you are dot editor. Tab index, blah. Oh, I don't seem to have gotten my class name because I haven't imported it from my attributes. Oh yeah, right, I'm not importing attributes anymore. That is why. Import sdom dot attributes and class name. And we build, and we rebuild, and we have our text editor. Amazing. Okay, and do we have backspace? So hold on, that's I think is, oh wow, yeah. Okay, we need to ignore a number of things. That's cool though. I like that it's giving us more than what we want. So those are all keys for you, huh? Huh. That is interesting. Oh yeah, backspace is simply not even a thing. Okay, so let's go back to the web, the keyboard event stuff. And we have either key or code. And key location. Standard left, right. Ah, that's probably for the control and shift and whatnot. Location index. Containing the printable representation of the key. Yeah, but that doesn't, that's actually not necessarily the best. Oh, Ferminum key location. Ah. That might actually, oh no, key. No. Other location does have a key location, but it's only 4 things. I know, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. A modifier state. Runs in effect. That's a bit of a strange library, gotta say. Keyboard, let's try that again. Oh, there's a FRP event for keyboard in Purescript behavior. So that has type FRP event keyboard. That might be the better route, because this is also fail stuff. And so is that right though? Hold on. Dispose keyboard. So we get what? We get the keyboard, create an event which also returns the currently pressed keys. Right, there's behavior keyboard and event keyboard. Yeah, but that's an interesting thing, because it seems like the SDOM events are in fact based on FRP event, aren't they? Not well, okay. So our web event based on FRP events. Web events. This type is the type of internal event. No, it's not. So yeah. So if I want to keep compatibility with web events. So let's see, why is there no keyboard in stuff in there? And nobody even asked about keyboard events in the web context? This is strange. Low-level interface implementation. So does this mean I could write a custom event for that? I just feel like that's a bit strange. Why is there no keyboard event? Hey everyone, welcome back. Sounds good. So check this out. I mean, like in such a small amount of time compared to my VS Code experiment, even though VS Code was relatively fast, here I get a thing. I can, you know, this is actually an HTML div, and my chronophore log is appending, and yeah. So it's pretty cool. I'm happy about that. Except now I'm kind of fiddling around with the the library that I chose for event, but maybe I shouldn't, you know. Maybe I should just ignore things, because basically it's pretty powerful. It's more powerful than I would think. When I hit shift, it actually displays shift. I play alt, it actually displays alt, and that is pretty, yeah, it's really more than I would want. But I guess I'll take it, and I just filter those out. Yeah, so we have event types, key up, key down, so that's fine. And how is an input event different, by the way? Before input, after input? I'm not sure. Right, what happens when I copy paste, I wonder? Well, we'll try that. See if we copy paste. Yeah, it tells us Control V. Or yeah, that makes sense. More powerful than I think, because because a bit more powerful than I need, in the sense that this is, you know, I only need key presses to be detected, but it's actually also detecting like shift. Like literally it detects my shift presses. It's passing those as characters, which is a little bit strange as a API design choice. I would expect that the result of a keyboard event, I mean, I'm going to try code as well, because maybe that's a little bit more sane. I don't know, but I'm using key, and it seems to be telling me really all the things, including whether I have modifier keys on. So I'll try with code instead of key and see whether that that works better. It's that guy here. And so, so it's in two parts then. And if I hit shift, oh, I get even more detail. Shift left, shift right. Wow, amazing. Get so much information there. And backspace, however, backspace doesn't give me any information with this. Oh no, it might just be because I've actually special cased it right there. So let me unspecial case it. And then, yeah, backspace is also there. Okay. So, well, that's just a lot of stuff to deal with. So if it starts with key, though, maybe that's useful, because maybe I can pattern match on the beginning. I wonder, because that's already projected. So I think I need to spy on that, on the result of code, because I'm actually, yeah. So let's spy on S here. Okay. And so now if I A, so S is key A. So that's pretty much exactly what we were saying. There's not much more to see here. It's a weird choice. That sounds very string typey kind of thing. Let's look at the source code. It's for an import, okay. I mean, Gary did it, so Gary's a very solid implementer, so in fact, maybe this comes straight from the web API. Web API keyboard events. Keyboard event code dot code. This ignores the user's keyboard layout so that the user presses the key at the Y position in a QWERTY keyboard layout in the middle of the right. Returns key Y. So no, yeah, it's the web API that returns that stuff. So okay, but we don't need that. We really want key, I believe. Key returns a DOM string representing the key value of the key. Representing the key value of the key represented by the event. Okay. Interesting turn of phrase. Right, so it's just a one-to-one low-level mapping of the web API. So indeed, nothing to no shade can be thrown on Gary for that, for sure. And that we have key locations. Okay, so I suppose I'm just going to use key and do the code, do the conversions. But let's look again at what this gives us for some of the other things, like A, S, D is fine, and then backspace is backspace, and then shift is shift. Okay, so we're just going to need to do a lot of kind of cleanup, I think. Because what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to pattern match on a range here, but I can't do that in Purescript. I can't say map between small cap A and whatever the last ASCII character that I'm interested in is. I can't even do a view pattern like you can in Haskell, where I would say here, you know, is ASCII or whatever, or is character. So this means that I need to relegate characters to the undefined case. And oh, I've been appending, yeah, well, and call it, or to the last case, in fact, and I need to intercept all the rest, and that's what I can't bring myself to do. That's why I'm not writing any code right now, because the code that I would write would be a little bit annoying. So how can I do that? I suppose I could, I suppose I just don't case on key K. I just do an intermediary thing, which is something like is char of key K or something, and it would really be char how could I do this elegantly? Oh yeah, no, if I have control over this, then I can make it so that the backspace is actually going to trigger what I'm expecting in the library for backspace, which is a proper, what is it? Backspace is the is the 08 code page. In fact, no, I don't even know. Well, yeah, later I want to pass code points directly because that's going to be more efficient. There's not going to be any intermediary conversions there. Okay, so that's good. But what am I saying? I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying then I can convert it to that, and then that means that I can filter all of the stuff I don't want. Okay, so let's do it. So this would be a what? What did we say it was? So from here, it's a keyboard event, right? And in fact, you know what? We can skip a thing. We can make it an event and then do the from event inside here. Yeah, why not? Forget about it. Okay. No, let's do it. It's going to be prettier. So we receive an event E. Let's give this a type first. Event.event to, okay, make it a string because we use build knock string ops. But there is a lower level thing which is build knock op, right? Which takes a code point. So okay, let's return a code point. That makes more sense. Okay, so we case from event E. Okay, actually, let's go in the maybe monad instead. We get a keyboard event from event E. Then from key K, oh yeah, we're going to do some matching there. And so, we could use the, oh yeah, actually such a good idea to use the code point thing, because I think I can use some of their conversion utilities to do to solve my conversion problem. The first code, let's see. So yeah, it would be sort of like what, string to code point or char to code point, and const string to an array of code point. Right, actually, yeah, right. The first thing we want to do is see whether we have a single character or not. Because it seems all of the special characters don't. So we could just do this from the length of key K or key KE, and then use the length, taking maybe length for string. And so length of key KE is going to be, well, we can do what on this? Well, I think we have to kind of have to case on that. Yeah, of 1. Then we know we have we know we probably have a character. Yeah, almost certainly. And then we transform, we take the we do 2 code point array, I suppose. Is seems a bit involved, but the two-code point array of key ke, so yeah. So I think I'll call this k, and I'll put it in just. And two-code point array k. Oh my god, I'm gonna hate myself for doing an unsafe operation on this array, but we know it's of length 1, so we should be okay. Let's. Really don't have anything in my head, but it's all good. Purescript arrays, I guess. Where? Yeah. Index. This is. Okay, I'm forgetting everything. This is it, right? Yeah. Purescript index infix version, and I'll just do bang bang 0 of that. Where am I? Here, bang bang 0. So that's the code point, right? To code point array 0, that's a code point. So then I'm returning a code point and I'm done. Now if it's not of length 1, then there's two cases. There's the case where key ke. Alright, one sounds good. I'll probably be offline when you're back, but yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, thanks, man. You too. Good to have you as always. Okay, so we key ke. Thank you. I won't actually. I'll take a sip right now. Send you off. Lovely. All right, so key ke could be backspace, and that's something we then want to in the case where we want to return two enum. Oh, isn't two enum? I think we had that problem with our tests. Two enum returns a maybe. Yeah, so we had to do unsafe partial. Okay, fine. We'll do that. We'll just backspace sitting in here and be a code point. And then we'll just return backspace. And then for everything else, we'll just oh, we want to ignore. We want a maybe code point. So that's nothing. Oh, in fact, right. So that's nothing, and that's just backspace, and that's just of that, and we're done, right? Maybe we just need to say, okay, from event. Actually, now indeed, I say. Here is char of E. Oh, actually, I don't need to do any of that stuff. I just need to append. Oh no, there is just yeah, there's just one case. So let's case is char of E off, and then for nothing we'll return L, and for just CP, our code point will append it, and it will be CP, and we'll spy on it, make sure we have our ducks in a row, and we just need to import unsafe partial, and from just and to enum. And the index operator, and to code point from array. Oopsie. Right here, and really just you, or is that the wrong type? Could not match code point with type, maybe code point. Yeah, right, just backspace. Is that right? Code point with maybe code point. Okay, what am I doing? So I get K already. Why am I doing this then? I don't need to. And then same here, right? Okay. But then backspace is a code point. I have this nested case here, but it shouldn't matter. Hey, hold on, why didn't this work? Really? Okay, no, I should be in the maybe code point monad, right? But I'm doing everything weirdly here. Damn. I just tripped myself by because this is not the code point monad. That's the problem. Would this work? Okay. So yeah, the problem is that now we're in the maybe keyboard event monad here. Screw this. I need to learn how to do this, to be honest, but a case of, yeah, nothing. Oh my god, this is so early. But I guess these are nothings of different types. And then just of key. And then I don't need to adjust this. Is that the thing? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then what's up with that? Yeah, because I can use, which one did I say I could use? The builds mockup, which in fact gives me just one up, and so I can append one up. And this compiles. NASD and backspace, and it works. And it's still but it is a kernel fault with. I'm not sure why it locks twice here. That's a little bit strange. Like the side effects. Let's look a little bit as DOM, but this is correct. Whoopsie, what am I doing? I'm writing in the wrong place, but can I do return? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't do return though, so for sure that might be limiting. But I can do other things. Can I copy paste? No, I can't copy paste, of course. I need to intercept that. And I might need to do that by using the code this time. So yeah, I'll take a note. Implement copy paste. Yeah, let's spy on this. Let's const nothing, but spy on key. Yeah, key KE. What's return? Yeah, what is return? Doesn't get shown here. Okay, well, let's spy on the whole event then. Keys enter. Okay, so I mean, I'm not sure why it's not spying on it here, but fine, enter. And then what do I do with enter? Well, what is its ASCII value? 13. Yeah, that sounds right. So let's do enter. And return that here. And then what's up? Okay, well, it's something. So maybe 13 is not right, but maybe that's okay for now. Maybe I can, because, well, okay, what time is it now? Yeah, getting into 11. Okay, so maybe I can try and finish this enter thing. But the thing with enter though is that I don't have I don't have a special case in my projection, in fact, for enter. So right now, also this is hex, so maybe I mean A, B, C. Maybe that's what I mean. Let's try with C. But it could be that just my data structure doesn't do that properly right now. Oh, well, that's another thing. Well, yeah, I don't know if I want to go into Unicode tables to find this out. It could be like when I'm projecting here, this is getting me a string. Yeah, there's several places where this could be wrong. But let's go back to the log. And I mean, if I'm, I could go and try and do, I've done the simple browser text area. Now the interesting bit would be to connect this to the network and send ops over the wire. And I was kind of hoping to get there today, but I think I'm going to wrap up. And since we've kind of took a fork in the road and decided to throw away our first prototype and went with a second prototype, but I think I feel much more relaxed with this new version. So that's, I think, is a good sign. And so we can add in that list to deal with enter and maybe copy paste as well, because that's going to be nice. But I think first I want to broadcast, and that might mean that might mean I'm not sure how I want to do that at this point, because there's so we first need to decide which way we want to take. And one is to just use Hyperswarm in JavaScript in the FFI, and I think that's probably what I want to do, because because otherwise I have to sort of wrap the Hyperswarm library. I need to start another library project, and I think that will distract us too much. So if that's what I would do, in that case, I think I might be able to push just a little bit more, because I feel like this is actually fairly straightforward to do. So let me give it a shot, like a quick shot. Okay, I'm going to put the clock on myself. I just go on like 10 minutes more and see whether I can actually connect Hyperswarm with in 10 minutes. Okay, let's do it. First of all, we need to import Hyperswarm, and we want Hyperswarm Web, I believe. I think I might have already Hyperswarm Web somewhere. Okay, this is getting super unruly. In fact, I can probably just a doc test I'll keep, but I remove most of what we didn't even do today. I'll keep some of the stuff that comes from Hyperswarm Web. That's right, and it's installing. And so we'll put some code in there already in our I'll put this right away in here. We'll export something like maybe what will we export? How is that going to work? We need to export like connection can be done like in main, like it can be stateful imperative code. That's fine. What we need to call from Purescript is sending the op. So we can say that all of the Swarm connection is hardwired, and so we just do a send, and then we'll need a receive that's a kind of callback, right? So module.export.send, right? That's I think is what I want to do. Let's look at the API quickly. Well, it's the Hyperswarm API. So let's look at Hyperswarm. And once we connected and whatnot and joined, we're not going to care about that. We're going to say new connection is created. Peer, we're not going to care about peer. So we have the key. We have we will connect. So we will care about the peer, but then we won't have enough to be sending the message. Do we need sufficient connection to the given peer? Yeah, we automatically connecting to peers. Returns an object where the topic is being announced and performed. I think Hyperswarm is not going to be enough. Oh, no, we can use the socket as a stream. Okay, okay. So in that case, we can use a Purescript socket or something. Or that's more like as a stream. That's a Node.js stream. So no, so not Purescript WebSocket. We use Purescript. Purescript. Well, streams. Is it node streams? It's not node streams, right? Yeah, because I think this part of the JavaScript ecosystem does streams their own way, I think. Swarm network. So yeah, I think I might need another abstraction on top of that. Huh. I thought I wouldn't. No, but you know what? I can do streams and I can convert them into a send and receive function. No, I should be able to do that. So let's try and do that. So that's send's going to receive, take a payload, and it's going to do something with the topic, which is going to be, we're going to need to be passing, so we're going to have this connection. How's this going to work? I think I've been quite ambitious by thinking I could do this in 10 minutes, but that's, so if we connect to the swarm, okay, we have a connection, we get the socket. So at this point we can use it, but there's an inversion of control thing there that I can't wrap my head around right away. So if I have a socket, then I suppose I could do something like assign it to a global variable in here. I mean, why not? And then sending would take a payload, and then not pipe, but okay, what's the type of socket? Socket establish TCP or UTP socket. So in fact, this is super low level, and this is using the the Hyperswarm network package, which is git repo Hyperswarm network. No, that doesn't look like that's what we're using here. Maybe it's a lower level thing that's called from here. UTP native, I think that's it, but except that we're using a different one in Hyperswarm Web, right? Hyperswarm Web, isn't that then a WebSocket? Running a Hyperswarm server, yeah, no, that's not what we want. got a test here. Is that an example here? Or is that the library? Yeah, that's the library. Duplex pair. I think that's might be. Are you just using events? The full duplex stream. So those are sockets. So I think with 2 duplex endpoints. Yeah, that looks like this. So s.write payload, I think, should send a socket, and then receive. How is receive gonna work? Needs to be a callback of some sort. So we pass it a callback, and it calls the callback when it receives a thing, which is when it reads something. Which is when well, I guess can you just call the callback with s.read? Is that just gonna, that sounds a little bit presumptuous, because there might not be anything there. So is that going to be sent on the event? Well, all right, that'll be what we do next time, and try to find nice Purescript signatures for this, and also understand better the event model, like when exactly how can we hook into the event that occurs when the socket receives a message. So that's where there's a impedance mismatch with a streaming abstraction and an event-driven abstraction. And here I'm trying to do an event-driven abstraction to hook it to a more event-driven framework here. If we were doing more streaming, then maybe it would be possible to pipe things into each other. But right now I want to convert this into events. So yeah, so that's what we'll do next time. I'll write this in the log. We are already using Hyperswarm in JS. So next step would be convert socket events, or yeah, convert sockets streams into events from Hyperswarm, and then we should be able to connect to clients and send ops over if you want to another. So that will be the next thing, connect to clients and send ops on a topic, on a swarm topic. So that'll be cool. You know, I might actually, yeah, depending on how tomorrow goes, I might add a little stream before my 4 p.m. Stream, and advance on that, because yeah, it's cool. I like it. I hope you like it too, and thanks for watching, and I will see you later.